Hi, I'm Stefan. I'm 36 years of age and I'm an Instagram model. It's been really tough to find love. I think people look at me and they're like, there's no way this guy's approachable. I can't get him. But I am. I'm dead at heart and I'm ready for love. My friends would describe me as forgiving. I'm heavily involved into human rights. Hold on a minute, is that waitress that used to be a working girl supporting her 5-year-old daughter? What a whore. My friendship group, all 2 of them, I had 3. She was on Insta, but she wanted me to send naked pictures of myself. I was like, no way, but I get paid. Anyway, my friendship group would describe me as introverted, and it definitely takes a while for me to come out of my shell. I'm active. Just take one. So you don't have to be a rocket scientist to realise how active I am. And yeah, I just love fooling around. I'm not immune to loss. Recently, I've just lost someone really close to me. That was a part of my life for 2 years. Sorry, I haven't. Can we... Dora, my fish, who was born in a refugee camp and survived. As you can imagine, that was really tough. I had her home and yeah, we just got along. I'm just looking for someone to share the rest of my life with. I want to find another goddess.
Welcome to Legends with Bevo.
Well, g'day and welcome to another edition of Legends with Bevo down here at the Alma tonight. And Big Brother, yes, it's back. We're seeing all the adverts. Every time we watch Channel 7, all you hear is about Big Brother this year. And who better to talk about it than a man who has been on Big Brother, finished 6th back in 2007, our one and only Adelaide boy himself, Joel Scalzi. Great to have you on, mate.
Good to be here, mate. Good introduction too, don't worry about that.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Absolutely, mate. So the people that are going on this year, you've been there, you've done it all. What do they expect?
Yeah, look, I was on there for 3 months, so 90 days in total back in 2007. But I think reality TV is very different now than it was back then. Back then, you know, we weren't interested in storylines or being a villain. I think now they know if that they can be a villain or if they can be something, they can get more screen time. Back then we were just being clowns and we didn't really know what we would be portrayed as. So we just had an absolute ball and an adventure, and it's a great experience.
And this year's going to be interesting because we've actually got people on that are as old as 60, so give people like myself hope still, Jolie. He's just turned 40.
You turned 40, but never in such good nick. Have a look at you. I can't touch you because of social distancing. Or is that right? Or can we? Can we?
We can maybe.
You've been tested? Good. Jeez, now that's a moment right there. I've always wanted to do that with Bevo. And you are doing such a great job with all your videos too, mate. So well done.
That's very kind, mate. Thank you. And you're doing a much good job as well, mate, with all your stuff. But yeah, so that's an interesting age group though, up to 60. How do you see the season going with such a different dynamic of guests?
Bevo.
Or housemates, I should say. So,
look, mate, yeah. I'm Mr. Optimistic. Friends of mine, I'm a very positive guy. When it comes to reality TV now, I'm not optimistic about it just because I know how controlled and scripted it is. They talk to the producers all the time, whereas we had 90 days of evolving with housemates and forming relationships, and it was a social experiment. For them, I just don't know what it will be like. You can tell that they are playing a role already, and that's how the commercials are. So for them, I think it's a lot different. For me, they're only going to be on there for 5 weeks too. So they've only got that short amount of time to really make an impact, whereas all our role was to do was just form relationships and have fun. And I don't know what it will be like for them, but it will be very different for what it was for me. Yeah. Yeah,
which I think's sad.
Do you know?
Yeah, I think you should actually be able to go in there and be yourself and not have to change things just for ratings or for the producers. So yeah, I don't like that. I'm thinking.
Would you go? Have you ever auditioned, Bevo?
I have twice.
Talk about that, please.
It was very random. I was doing random things like pretending I was Steve Irwin trying to catch a crocodile and trying to make a human pyramid with about 20 other people. And but I don't think, as you've been on it yourself, they already know who they want.
Yes.
And they have their footy jock, they have their token gay and lesbian people.
Yes.
They have their like I guess good-looking female Instagram model. They've always, and they're farmer, and sort of country guy. They've always got what they want.
Yes.
So I don't, and maybe I was too nice. Who knows? But
Oh, look, as he says that, you see this grin. You are too nice, but it's a good thing. It's a beautiful thing, mate.
But I don't know. How was your audition process? How did you find it?
Yeah. Because obviously I knew I was doing this, and I was thinking about the day I was at Morphettville Racecourse, and there was 5,000 people there from South Australia, and that day was a confident day from me. We got broken up into groups, and then you had to tell stories from your past, and if they thought they were colourful enough, they would move you on to another group. Every time you got moved on to a group, they dwindled it down, and it got smaller and smaller until I think it was the last 10. And then you just had to tell them why you'd be good on TV and something that no one knows about you. So I was really honest with that. Obviously, before that, I was in college in America, and I had some stories about that. And then they said, "Yeah, you're through." And I kept Bevo the number from that day, the audition number, and I put it on my letterbox. And I went home and I said to my housemates, "I think I've got this." and it wasn't being arrogant. It's just that. You know when you have an impact on people in a room, and I think that day that I did, and I got through. Yeah.
Amazing. And what was the experience like? Was it pretty nerve-wracking going into that house not knowing what to expect?
I was nervous. Yeah, I'm a confident guy, but I was nervous. Yeah, very nervous, because you're in isolation. I was in isolation for a week with my beautiful sister. So I had a chance to take in my mates, and I thought, geez, I've got a few loose mates. I don't really know if I need to bring them into isolation. My sister and I have a great relationship, and I thought it was really important to have her there with me before I went in, and she was there. And then after isolation, you don't see anyone. All of a sudden, you're on a stage with Gretel Colleen, who everybody knows and watches, regardless of whether you're a Big Brother fan or not. You know who Gretel Colleen is. So out of isolation, just picture what we've been in. And then all of a sudden you're on stage with Gretel, and she's, asking questions about you. And I was nervous, but it took me 2 minutes to settle myself down. And she's easy to look into the eyes. I don't mind Gretel.
You loved it.
I do.
And after the show, you mentioned before that you were part of the Red Rock Noodle Bar because your family owned it.
Yes.
What was it like dealing with all that fame? Because everyone had been wanting to have photos with you, selfies and stuff like that. How'd you cope with it all, Jolie?
Oh, Bevo. I mean...
You loved it, didn't you?
Bevo. Oh, a little fella like me really got amongst it. The place where we're in now has been a lot of conquests. As in forming relationships. Nothing like that, because that would be untoward. Bevo, the time afterwards was full on. I had SAFM breakfast show. I was dealing with, I hate it, it's never fame. You just deal with a period where you know you're going to be popular. It wasn't fame, because fame is something that is given to people that are going to have more of a legacy. And fame is something that is earned, and you really need to be good at your craft. And I don't say that just because I was on reality TV. So I knew I was going to be popular for 6 months, and I took advantage of it, and I had a lot of fun. I got a little bit upset sometimes when I was with my mates. They didn't stay with me when I was you would get accosted for 6 months, like, at pubs and clubs, and you'd get your ass grabbed, and, everyone did want you for that period of 6 months.
That would happen to Renault, wouldn't it, mate?
Oh, have you seen my ass, mate? I mean, it's peachy. I don't want to go to touching it again. You're doing this, you're going down that path. You are. Look at that grin. I just knew for that period that was going to happen, and I took it for what it was, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. SAFM, I don't think I gave my best at the breakfast show, because I had a lot of late mornings, and I was just, I was really enjoying that 6 month period. So I respect radio and the industry a lot more now than I did back then.
Yeah, because you spent a bit of time over in Sydney as well, doing some emceeing with the Sydney Swans and Sydney Kings. And,
yes.
What made you come back to Adelaide after that?
Yeah, mate, I think when you are chasing something like that and you're by yourself, you get certain things, and things were going well for me, but personally, I still didn't know how to manage doing all those jobs by myself. I was good at the time professionally, but I think personally, I wasn't as well-rounded as I was now, and I think tennis coaching and working with kids has made me a lot better. I wish I had that experience as a person back then when I was doing the media work, and I think that would have helped me stay in the industry a little bit longer. But yeah.
Hey, it's never too late, mate. You've still got plenty of chance to get back in there.
Never too late, mate.
Yeah.
And every experience, you know, without getting too deep and philosophical, should only make you a better communicator with people. You're a better communicator now, I'm sure, than you were 10, 15 years ago through your life experience, and I'm sure I will be too.
Yeah, no, well said. And in terms of your experience in the house, what were some of the ups and downs there? And did you ever find yourself getting bored? Because you're in the house for a long period of time. So.
Like 90 days. When you say it like that, 90 days. People ask me 90 days. Yeah, I didn't get bored. I didn't get bored because I was able to be a chameleon. I could evolve. I never took it that serious. There were people in there that were smokers. They would get agitated and start fights after being short with people. You could tell that. There were a few moments. There was a good friend of mine in the house that lost her father during that time. The producers didn't know whether to tell her in the house or wait. Ultimately, they told her, and that was really sad because as housemates, we found that out later on in the 90 days. My time was being a clown. Like, I loved going into the Big Brother diary room and he used to go, Joel, what would you like now? And, you know, I just used to say, well, it would be good if we could have more drinks, or it would be good if you could get us a little bit more loose so that we could, you know, play more games. But the adventures in the rooms that were set up by the production team, there were ice rooms like you were in Alaska and you had to do a certain task. The rooms that they were able to do, like any TV production show, were amazing. And I always just used to love that. Tanning, I learned how to swim in the house. It was an absolute ball. It was a great experience for me, yeah.
And you've also been involved in doing some advanced hair commercials, and I would love to get an advanced hair myself. And you got to hang out with the great Shane Warne. How did this all come about, mate?
Well, look, mate, you know, there's a lot of big things going on in the world, so I'd rather, no, we will talk about hair loss because that is a big thing.
Yeah.
And for me, I think when I was younger, you know, as a man, I didn't want to let go of it. I love doing my hair. And
as we all do.
As we all do. And women are like, oh, just shave it. Just shave it. Shave your hair. What's the difference? But no. And I didn't want to do that. And then, look, I got in contact with them and I did a video for them, and they liked the way I communicated, and they said, all right, we'll give you some free treatment if you jump on a commercial. And I did, and it was fun. And I think some people tagged me in something like, oh my God, is that you, advanced hair, Joel, former Big Brother, and there he is, dickhead, or something like that. I was like, yeah, I don't care. And now I have come to terms with it, because at 38, you say to yourself, you know, own it. Yeah. And with a face like this, why wouldn't you?
And you pulled it off nicely, mate.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
No, but back then, yeah, that's how it came about.
Yeah, you're right, because...
Yeah, what about you?
I always used to cop it from my mates and stuff, you know, like back in the day. That,
yeah.
And the one thing you would learn, or you probably the same kind of thing, is that the more you deal with, the more you actually whinge about it and show your mates that you're actually not liking what they're saying, then they'll continue to bag you about it. Whereas if you just, you know, own it and say,
yes.
you know, it is what it is.
Yes.
And rather than trying to like go out alone and get a comb over and stuff like some people try to do, or have a ponytail with the ball patch on the back like some
that's what I'm saying. And that's what I didn't want to do. But look, when you're 26 and it's happening, you know, you have a bald spot, you don't have the wisdom. Some people do. I didn't have the wisdom to say, let's own it. So
yeah.
I'd always wanted more hair, and now I've got the wisdom and I'm like, I'm owning it.
Yes.
But you own it too.
Thanks, mate.
Not that you're losing your hair.
No, thanks.
But you own it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things as well, because one of my mates, I'm going to give a shout out to Steve. He came up with this thing called bald rankings back in the day.
Did he?
And this is a true story, Joel.
What's it about?
Because they knew that I used to get so fired up about going bald and being paranoid about it, he'd send an email out to all of our bunch of mates, and he'd do a top 20 of people that we know, and he'd always put me at the top of the list as the most or least hair. And then back to the person with the most amount of hair. So he put me ahead of people like Gary Ablett, Chris Judd, all those people trying to wind me up, and I'd always get fired up and stuff like that.
You see what I mean? You can't help yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's when you're not sure of yourself. And
yes.
That's when you're not a man. And now you're a man and you own your shit.
Exactly. But if someone gave me 20 grand and said, hey, here you go, you can get some advanced hair, I wouldn't say no. So,
you wouldn't say no, but I don't know how long that lasts. But anyway, that's a different story.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. But hey, you owned it and you look good now, mate. You pulled it off. So
Bevo.
And what can I say? What a pleasure it is to speak to Joel Scalzi today. Thank you so much, mate. It's been a blast, and looking forward to speaking to you again in the future, mate.
Good man.
And this year's Big Brother should be interesting to see. I'm sure it won't be as good as when you were on it, though, of course, mate. So.
Nah, we'll give them a go.
Yeah, we'll give it a crack. Maybe you'll see me on there next year, who knows?
I think that would be good. Bevo needs to do that.
Tell them about some of my past antics, that would be interesting.
Oh, you were telling me you don't want to talk about that now? No.
Oh, mate, I'm happy to admit I work as a nude model at Hens Nights. Hey, you get nude as well and put it up on Facebook. You can't talk in some of your videos.
Bevo, our bodies are our instruments. And if we don't own our bodies and the way they're shaped and formed, I mean, what's the point? We're meant to be free.
Especially if we're fit in good shape as well, mate.
Oh, let's do it now. Let's finish it up.
I'm too white.
I like it.
Compared to your tan.
Yeah, that's why we'd look good with each other.
Yeah, exactly. See you next time, guys. Thanks,
See you guys. Thanks, mate.